Hey, Jay.
What's up, guys? I just skipped that because I wanted to do a test. I want to see why the F some of my streams come up as viewer discretion. I appeal them. They get appealed every time, but I'm just curious if it's because of the B word in that song that triggers it. So I'm testing that right now. I skipped the song. I want to know if it's because of the intro. So we will see. This morning's stream got pegged for limited revenue. So let's see. We'll see. But like some other ones don't, and they do have the beginning. I don't know. Maybe I'll try not cursing at all and see how that goes. I don't know. Missy's here. Donnie's here. Mike's here. Sky Troop. Sarah. Todd is here. Carrie 28's here, who got my friends soup bones, and they really like them. Thank you so much, Carrie 28. Ayana's here. Mooney's here. Cindy's here. Amy's here. Amy Albers. Lori's here. Sweet Lou's here. Gretchen. Madeline. No, I did not see Larry David on the Today Show. I have to check that out. Speaking of Larry David, that's going to lead. Shit, I wanted to tell a story, and I just cursed.
Judge, I'll just inform you that I met with in the state's attorney's office. There were a lot of notes that need photocopies, and they're making them right now, and it should be shortly. There were maybe 25 pages total, I think, that they're making copies of. That's why they're delayed.
Brooklyn's here. Amy, New Jersey, and Amy Albert. So I think I could tell my story now. Brooke is here. Interesting, Brooke. Thank you. Maybe I might have to ask Greg to make me a new opening song. Next chapter's here. So speaking of Larry David, I wanted to talk about this, and it looks like we have a few minutes that I can kill right now. Oh, Raul's here. Thanks for being here, Raul. Love you, brother. Make sure you're following Raul on Twitter, and he's going to have a new show with Jessica for Justice. So make sure you're subscribed and followed to Raul. Afy's here. Nora Vista Shuta is here. So I wanted to, because if you guys missed it, I won't be streaming tomorrow because tomorrow is Shannon and my sixth wedding anniversary. And I wanted to say this for folks who don't know, because there's a lot of new folks to the channel. Shannon and I met over Twitter.com. We met on Twitter back in 2015. And I had just gone through a really tough divorce. Shannon has gone through them, one as well. And she's from Kansas, folks. We met on Twitter. Shannon's originally from Kansas. In order to come to New York, she had to file, a case. She had to file a petition to move, kind of like Wendy Adelson. Except, guess what? It was granted, and that'll tell you about her situation before. But anyway, what I wanted to say is, first of all, that court proceeding is a nightmare because basically what the hearing is the other party's attorney trying to make you look like you're garbage. And Shannon, I testified. Shannon's parents testified, and then Shannon was on the stand for a while. And basically, they're just trying to make her look awful, and be like, "There's no reason." And basically, what the judge said was, the judge is like, "All right, buddy," because the Sloane's dad was like, "No, you can't do this," and he's like, "All right, if you want to do this and you don't want her to move, then we're going to give a 6-month period, a period where you are in charge, and we'll see how that goes, and then we'll determine." Well, during that 6-month period, or I forget how long it was, he, how do I put this? he basically, if he now has, if he wants to drive, has to have a device on his car, if you know what I'm saying. So that happened during that period. Shannon was granted the motion and came here, but the point I want to make is that was super hard for her to do that, and like as nice and as kind as she seems when she does her streams, she's that times 1,000. And to deal with me all the time, like I know we joke, she jokes about it, or I joke about it. I'm kind of like a young Larry David, like just a curmudgeon. It's like I am not easy to deal with. So for her to stay with me for 6 years, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. She's amazing. She's the best, and I just am super lucky to have her be with me for this long now. Yeah, we got married at Town Hall in Islip, New York. We didn't do the whole thing. We had our first marriages were the whole deal. We didn't do this for when we got together. Shannon had the plague. We got married in Town Hall. Then we went to the Oakney for folks who are from Long Island. We went to the Oakney Diner afterwards. And yeah, so we've been together for 8.5 years, but married for 6 years. And I just am extremely lucky to have Shannon in my life. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah, and so I will not be streaming tomorrow in the morning, taking the kids to school, getting stuff ready. Then we'll do a nice happy hour at Jackson Hall. We'll get some margs. We'll get some appetizers. We'll get crunk. I'll get an Uber home, drive there, Uber home, maybe have a nice edible involved. So yeah. And I got through that without crying. I was close, but I didn't cry, so good for me. Saint Shannon is right. And in addition to being an amazing wife, she has 4 kids to deal with. Brian, Ethan, Sloan, and me. 4 kids all the time. 4 children. 1 adult. 3 children. Actually, teenagers. We got 2 13-year-olds and a 15-year-old. So, and she runs the house. She's driving around. She's doing odd jobs to try to make us extra money. So I'll have to post pictures on the gram or Twitter of when we met. We met the first time I flew to Kansas City. By the way, for the first 2 years, like we had to go back and forth, flying from me to Kansas not Kansas City, but me to Kansas, her to here. It was it's hard. It is hard doing a long-term thing where you have to like fly, and then there were times the first time I went there, it was like a blizzard. I got snowed in extra days. No, Donnie, Shannon does not paint for extra jobs. Why? Do you need you need painting done, Donnie? Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say. What happened? They went on break already? I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, Donnie paints for extra jobs. Got it. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the channel and you're not aware, Babe has her own channel. Highly recommend it. Where was our first date? It was at like a burger place. Like it was like a restaurant / burger place. I don't remember the name of it. I'm sure Shannon will know. And our kids were young, by the way. When we visited my parents, our kids were so young that like they all were in car seats when we first got together. They're now obviously they were all in car seats, so we had to like figure out that situation with 3 kids in car seats. Speaking of painting, we guys, February 10th, next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all our patrons, paint and sip, and all of Viv's patrons. We'll get that link out, and we'll both post the items that you need. Thank you for everyone saying happy anniversary. Thank you, everyone. I try to make it not too late, not too early. Try to accommodate all time zones. I hope 3 p.m. Eastern on a Saturday is good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you. Yeah, so she moved here. The best mom you could ask for. Best wife you could ask for. Especially dealing with me, folks. You guys know I'm a hot mess. I'm a hot mess express. Dealing with me all the time? Oof. I don't like to go out. I don't like to do things. Shannon likes to do things. I mean, she's an introvert too, but she would like to do more things than I do. I'll tell you that. But I'm going to take my happy pill tomorrow. My happy chew. Happy chew. I'll take my happy chew tomorrow. Limited dietary options, that too. All right, folks, we're just waiting for them to come back here. I guess they're... Oh, my mom is on the kick machine with the Friday Eve in our hearts. Salina, Donnie. Shannon is from Salina, which, by the way, is not really close to any airport. Kansas City is like a while away. So it's, and by the way, if folks didn't know, Kansas City is not only in Kansas, but the Kansas City you're thinking of is in Missouri. Like there's a Kansas City in Kansas and Missouri, but the one you're thinking of, like where the Chiefs play, is in Missouri, not Kansas. So I don't know if that, I didn't know that until until I met. Is it close to the woods, Donnie? What woods specifically? The ones with Sasquatch? Are you with the ones with Bigfoot? Is that why you're asking? Yes, it's right by Bigfoot, Donnie. One day you'll come with us and we'll find Bigfoot, okay? You, me, Shannon, and Mark Zamsky. We'll go looking for Bigfoot, all right, Donnie? I got the gimbal, and we'll record it, Donnie. Did they say how long this break was? I wasn't even paying attention. I was talking about Shannon. Oh, before I forget, let me make sure I set up the portal for tonight's interview at 7 p.m. And I got to shout out Tracy K, who is not feeling good. I don't know if she's listening now. She's awesome. She's one of our mods. And if not for Tracy K reaching out to Sarah Turney, we would not have this interview today. So, Tracy K, thank you for reaching out. She basically said we have this awesome interview thing we do. And that's why we have this interview today, because of Tracy K. So, thank you, Tracy. No, they did not come back. Is Botrick still dead? I don't know. Is it not working again? Let me try to put up the chat. Let's see. No. All right. Looks like Botrix is alive. There we go. Thanks for reminding me, Todd. Looks like Botrix is alive because we got both chats on the screen. Both chats. So they came back. They said they needed copies. Let me see what they said. I don't even know if they said. Let's see. Whoops.
Yes, Judge.
They go up and they have a little sidebar. Oh, by the way, I'm probably ending this at the 3:15 break or whenever they do their afternoon break so I can prepare the stream for the interview as well as make dinner. I'm making tacos for dinner tonight for the kids. And if you guys knew how I made tacos, you would burn me at the stake. No, they don't even say why or when.
Rise.
Oh, they're back. Sweet.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. For any back session.
Yes, Judge, I just wanted to alert the court, put it on the record that Attorney Schoenhorn had an opportunity to inspect both binders that Ms. Roy is with on the witness.
Real quick, I'll tell you, whatever. People already don't like my hot takes on food. Here's what I do with the tacos. Shannon doesn't like them. The kids love them. And when I say the kids, Ethan and Brian, they're the way my mom made them for me. And the difference is I don't use like taco seasoning. I use ground beef, salt, pepper. But here's the thing. And I thought that everyone did this. I don't know if it's an Italian thing. I don't know what it is. Oh, they like the taco bowls. The taco bowls from, they're like bowls. But I put tomato paste in there. And I feel like people are going to be mad about that.
The stand, and he designated the items that he wanted photocopied. We made arrangements for that and provided him with those copies.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you. We can bring the jury out, please.
You will bring the jury.
I'm going to get a limited ad revenue because I put tomato paste in my tacos. No, Charlotte, I'm not going to take a... I mean, it's just ground beef. That looks a little... It doesn't look... Thank you.
Counsel stipulate, please.
Yes, Judge. Yes.
Thank you.
Shannon doesn't like it. Shannon likes it with like the traditional taco seasonings and the other gross stuff.
Ms. Roy, where we had left off, we were talking about swabbings on lab item number 99, a door panel taken from the Toyota Tacoma. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, I do.
And specifically, we had gotten up to S1 through S5, which are depicted in the photograph, which is currently on the screen as Lab 99 paren door panel. Did you do screening tests for blood on those particular swabbings?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
They all tested negative with the screening test for blood.
Did you continue to do, you did additional swabs on this door, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and I want to ask you specifically about S6, S7, S8, and S9. There are arrows on this photograph. Are those the general areas where you swabbed?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do presumptive or screening tests for those particular swabbings as well?
Yes.
And what were the results?
S6, I got a weak positive. The next one you're asking me about is S7.
Yes.
I got a positive with the screening test. And then the next one was S9.
And what were the results of S9?
Positive, weak positive.
And when you indicated you did a screening test, which particular test did you do?
I used the old toluidine one, which is the more sensitive test, but has a carcinogen in it, so I used it under the hood.
And directing your attention now to 99S11, which is also displayed in this photograph, was that a swabbing that you took of the door handle itself?
Yes, after I removed it from the door panel, I swabbed it.
And did you do a screening test on that as well?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
One of the swabs tested positive, and the other 3 I didn't test.
I'll show you the bowl. This is the bowl.
I believe you indicated that this presumptive test, or this, I'm calling it a presumptive test, the screening test that you did can also react with certain cleaning agents. Is that correct?
Yes, but the way we do the test at work is that it's a 2-step test. So we add the first solution, which contains the colorless chemical, which if hemoglobin is present, the heme and hemoglobin, it'll turn color. But if we add that to our sample and we get any kind of color change, then we would note that, and that would be a failed test. So one of the cleaning agents that might be present could cause that. So then we would go on, if we didn't see any kind of color change or anything, we would add our second solution, which is hydrogen.
So that's the bowl. It makes it easier for the kids. Hold on, Venviti. Hold on a second. I got to highlight this and I got to set this up. Hold on. By the way, anyone who's turning on the stream now is like, what the hell is going on? Why is this woman next to a taco bowl? But hold on one second. You can't say that in here, Venviti. Ayana, you cannot say that in here without not expecting this to happen. Here, let's look at Ayana's comments. There it is. LMAO. Why is it soft? And of course, we got to hit it with the.
That's what she said.
All right, I'm sorry.
Hydrogen peroxide. And then that would cause the whole reaction to occur. And then you look at what color develops. And in the case of Castlemeyer, it should be a bright pink, and it develops very quickly. And then with the O-toluidine, it's like a teal, blue-green color, and that also develops very quickly. And we don't go beyond 10 seconds when we're reading the result for either of those tests. So the way we do the test, we know how it should react, and any difference from that, we note it, and it's either called a failed test or inconclusive.
And did you remove any trace material from the door?
Yes, I did.
And what type of trace material did you remove from the door?
One hair-like fiber and other trace material.
And was that designated as 99S14?
Yes, it was.
Now, when you remove trace materials such as hair, did you personally test the hair yourself?
No, I didn't examine the hair.
Okay. Who did?
Anita Valones was the hair examiner on this case.
Anita who?
So essentially you would have removed the item and retained it, and then eventually Ms. Valonis would have reviewed it?
She would have examined it, yes.
And directing your attention now to 99S15, what was that?
That was,
Sorry, it was a different photo. 99S15.
that was swabbing of the fabric panel, not along the edge, but that around the other area that wasn't swabbed.
And did you do a screening test for blood on that?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
Very weak positive.
And just before I forget, I want to go back to State Police Exhibit 154, Lab Submission 96. I don't think I showed you this photograph. This is Lab 96 3S1. This was the FedEx envelope that was part of Submission 96. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you also swab this envelope for potential touch DNA?
Yes, I did.
What part of the envelope did you swab?
The flap area, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that's the adhesive side of the flap area. And then I swabbed a little bit into the envelope opening in the interior. So it would have been that flap area and then a little bit into the envelope interior.
Again, all of these swabbings were forwarded to DNA, is that correct? Well, actually, strike that. Some of these swabbings were submitted to DNA, is that correct?
Most of my swabbings were submitted to DNA, yes.
Your Honor, I'm just going to publish the stipulation here. This is State's Exhibit 103, Paragraph 1. State Police Exhibit 500A, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 30th, 2019, and identified as 1 white Hanes t-shirt, size 2XL, with blood-like staining, contained within State Police Exhibit 499, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Garden Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as submission 49. So I'm just going to display the photograph in here, which is titled Lab 49, period SP 500A. And Your Honor, at this time, I'll just alert the court and the jury to a stipulation between the parties that upon further testing and investigation, this particular submission was unrelated to this case.
Thank you.
That's by agreement. That's so stipulated.
Thank you.
Reading again from State's Exhibit 103, specifically Paragraph 2. State Police Exhibit 502A, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as 1 clear plastic bag with a blood-like substance contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as submission 50. Ms. Valonis, did you work or do any analysis on submission number 50?
Oh, yeah, I'm Christine Murray.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, I did examine number 50.
So I'm opening the folder entitled State Police Exhibit 502A, Lab Submission 50, and I'm going to display the photograph Lab 50, paren with paper added. Ms. Valonis, can you tell the jury?
It's Mr. Roy, counsel.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I have Ms. Valonis on my mind. She's next. Ms. Roy, what are we looking at here?
So this is the submission number 50, which had a poncho-like appearance. It had what looked like a neck opening and 2 arm openings, and then the bottom was open. What it didn't have was a hood, so that's why I would call it poncho-like. So I put the paper in to kind of, the white paper to kind of show where the armholes are and the neck opening is, and then where the bottom of the bag is. So that's what's in this picture. And then it also has reddish brown staining that was at the bottom front, and I just tested a very small area with the chemical screening test for blood. It was positive, and then I forward this to Leighton Prince.
I'm just going to depict a photograph Lab 50 paren as received. Is this another photograph of the poncho as the laboratory received it?
Yes.
And I believe you designated this as side A, is that correct?
Yes.
You mentioned that this particular object did not have a hood, so you described it as poncho-like.
Yeah, poncho-like, because a poncho you would think of having a hood.
And I'm displaying now photograph Lab 50, period 1S1 and 50, 1S2, period SP 502A. You indicated that you took swabbings of this particular object. Is that correct?
Correct. Now, these 2 pictures are post-latent print examination, which is why they're very blackish.
Latent prints used a dusting powder or something to that effect to try to develop prints. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you do your swabbings before or after latent prints?
I did. I collected my samples after latent prints.
And I see here that there are 2 swabbings designated. Is that right?
That's correct.
And what particular areas did you swab?
So this was down side B, which had that heavy reddish brown staining, where I did a single KM test before it went to latent prints. So that's that area of the poncho-like bag.
And you used a Castlemeyer screening test on these 2 swabbings as well?
Yes, I did.
And the results were positive?
Yes.
showing you a photo entitled Lab 50 S1 SP502A CR. What are we looking at here?
That's the trace material that I collected from this poncho-like bag. And there were 4 hair-like fibers that I collected. And then there was quite a bit of reddish-brown flakes and crusts that came off the submission and other trace material, which I collected in a tin. And those were both retained at the laboratory.
Published States Exhibit 103. This is paragraph 3. State Police Exhibit 502B, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as 1 clear plastic bag with blood-like substance contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as Submission 51. And I'm going to be opening the folder on States 109 entitled State Police Exhibit 502B, Lab Submission 51. Did you do an analysis of Lab Submission 51?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was a poncho, a clear plastic poncho.
So submission number 50 you described as poncho-like, 51 you're describing as a poncho. What were the difference between the two?
The 51 had a hood.
I'm going to display the photograph Lab 51 as received. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
So the top picture is how it came out of the submission packaging. And then the bottom picture is how it was, I laid it out on the lab bench with the brown paper underneath. And in that picture on the bottom, you can see where the hood is folded down, and there's 2 openings on either side for the arm, and then an opening along the bottom. And you can also see a heavy stained area over on the, what would be the right side of when you're wearing the poncho.
And can you describe the heavy stained area for the jury?
It was blackish, brownish, reddish brown.
Showing you now the photograph in that folder entitled Lab 51, back with white paper added. Can you just explain to the jury why you added white paper here?
Just to show the structure of the poncho, how that area that was stuck together over on the right upper side where the right arm would have been coming out, and also just to show more detail of that area. So I'm taking pictures as I'm examining it. I'm not sure what it is. And then the one in the lower left, I did notice a hair-like fiber on the interior of the bag. So I went in and collected that single hair-like fiber because that I wanted to retain. And that's in the lower left photo.
And did this particular item also go to latent prints?
Yes, it did.
I'm going to show you Lab 51 post-latent print, white paper added. Is this obviously after it went to latent prints and why it's a darker consistency?
Yes, that's why it's blackish.
Did you perform any screening tests on this particular item?
Yes, I did.
And how many screening tests did you perform?
How many individual times I tested stains? I tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas.
Okay. I just want to show you a photograph entitled Lab 51, 1S3, and S4, and S5, and S6, and S8. This particular item was swabbed 8 separate times. Is that correct?
I took 8 samples from this poncho, but the first one I collected was trace. So there's actually 7 swabbings that I did from this poncho.
Understood. And so I want to direct your attention now to swabbing 51 1S3. That was of a reddish brown stain exterior as received. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you do any screening tests on that?
Yes, that was the area that I tested on my initial examination. And then I went back after latent prints and collected it.
And what were the results of the screening test?
It was positive.
And 51S4 was described by you as a reddish brown stain at the front lower opening. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you do a screening test for blood on that particular swabbing?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
It was positive.
(51) 1S5 was described by you as a swabbing of a reddish brown stained hood top area. Did you do a screening test on that particular swabbing?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
It was positive.
And 51 1S6 was a swabbing from the interior hood. That was just for touch DNA, is that correct?
Yes, in this case, I collected it for possible wear biological material that might be left behind, and I did not test those swabs.
When you say you didn't test the swabs, they were forwarded to DNA, they just weren't tested for screening test for blood, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now 51 1S7 is not displayed in this particular photograph. I'm going to pull up a photograph entitled Lab 51 1S6 and 51 1S7. You described that as a reddish brown staining interior front. Did you do a screening test on that?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
It was positive.
And just to jump back to the previous photo, which displays 51 1S8. That was an additional swabbing that you did of the exterior of the hood, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
I'm just going to zoom in on that. And this was for touch DNA, is that right?
That's correct.
So no screening test was done on that particular swabbing?
No, I didn't.
And I'm just displaying a photograph entitled 51 1S2Y. What are we looking at here?
I have to refer to my report.
Oh, that's fine. Maybe if I show you this. I'm showing you now
Oh, okay.
51S2. It's a closer up photograph of that.
I just didn't recognize it.
Oh, no, that's quite all right.
Yes, that was a white hardish-like material with some reddish brown staining on it.
And did you do any screening or confirmatory tests on this?
Yes, not initially when it was collected, but later on I was asked to, and Anita Valones had taken a swabbing of the white hardish material, and I did testing on that swabbing, and then it was positive with the screening test, and then I did the hemotrace test, which was positive, so that meant that human blood was indicated, And then I forwarded those swabs to DNA.
So in total, you did, in your analysis in this case, 3 confirmatory blood tests. Is that correct?
In all of my analysis for the whole case?
Confirmatory, yes.
Yes.
And that would have been on the, just to be clear, the bra, the shirt, and this particular item. Is that correct?
Yes, the swabbing of the reddish brown.
And all 3 came back positive for blood. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just going to publish the stipulation, Your Honor, paragraph 7 from States 103. State Police 502H, State Police Exhibit 502H, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as 4 large white zip ties with blood-like substance contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as submission 52. Did you do analysis on submission number 52?
Yes, I did.
What was submission number 52?
It was 4 white zip ties.
And were each of those zip ties given their own designation?
Yes. I designated them as 52-1, 52-2, 52-3, and 52-4.
And within the States Exhibit 109, specifically the folder marked State Police Exhibit 502H Lab Submission Number 52, I'm displaying a photograph Lab 52 1S1 through 52 4S1. Can you just explain to the jury what we're looking at here?
So this is after the LP examination, so they do look blackish. So it shows on the 52-1 and 52-2, as they were received, they were cut. So when you use a zip tie, you make a loop when you use it, and then that loop appears to have been cut. Of course, it could have been some other mechanism, but it was cut, separated. And then 52-3 and 52-4 were found not being in a loop conformation. So 52-1 and 52-4 had a lot of reddish brown staining on them, which would make collecting areas for touch difficult. So I tested 2 areas on 52-1 and 2 areas on 52-2 using the screening test for blood, and they were both positive. And then when I got it, I did that before it went to latent prints. And then when I got it back from latent prints on each of those items, I did a swabbing of the whole item. So I would have, on 52-1, it was designated 52-1S1, and that was the entire surface. And then 52-2, again, I tested 2 areas on the textured side, so not to interfere with anything on latent prints. And then after I got it back from latent prints, I swabbed the entire surface, and that was 52-2S1. Now, 52-3 and 52-4 had very little blood on them. So on the textured side of 52-3, I did see a reddish brown stain, and I tested it, and then it was positive with the screening test for blood, and then I collected it as 52-3S2, and there were other stains, but there were very little reddish brown. And after latent prints, I went and swabbed the whole entire surface, and that would have been 52-3S3. I also collected fiber-like trace material, and that I designated 52-3S1, and I collected that before it went to latent prints. And now 32-4, there's very little reddish-brown stain, and it was faint, so I didn't test those. When it came back from latent prints, I swabbed the entire surface, and that was designated as 52-4S1. And the little circles were tags that I put on each one of those zip ties just to keep the designation correct and initial them with my initials.
And you had mentioned that you did do one screening test on 52-3, is that correct?
Yes, I collected that reddish brown stain. It was on the textured side, so I was okay to collect before it went to latent prints, and I collected it.
And were those swabbings submitted for DNA analysis?
Yes.
Going to publish the stipulation, reading from States 103, paragraph 8. State Police Exhibit 502I, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as one white standard textile towel with blood-like substance contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as Submission 53. You also worked on Submission 53, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you describe Submission 53 for the jury?
It's a white towel, bath type towel.
So I'm just going to project a photo entitled Lab 53S1. Well, actually, before I get there. This is Lab 53S1 and 53S2. Could you just indicate to the jury what we're looking at here?
That's the two sides of the towel. You can see the reddish brown stains and the light reddish brown stains, and there's also some blackish stains.
And did you take swabbings of this towel, or did you actually cut a piece of the towel, or both?
I took cuttings.
And can we see where you cut in this particular photograph?
Yes, on the upper picture.
I'll zoom in.
Oh, on the bottom.
On the top photograph, there's a designation S2 previously removed with an arrow. What does that denote?
That shows where I removed a cutting from the towel for 53S2.
And was that submitted for DNA analysis?
Yes, it was.
Was any screening test performed on that particular part of the towel?
Yes, it was.
And what were the results of the screening test?
It was positive.
And just to be clear, positive for blood, is that correct?
Oh, positive for the screening test for blood.
Correct. Now I'm going to zoom in on the bottom photograph here, and we see a designation on the left-hand side, S1, previously removed. Was that an area of the towel that you removed for additional testing?
Yes, it was.
And what type of testing did you do on that area of the towel?
I did the screening test for blood, and it was positive, and then I cut out a sample and then sent a portion of that cutting to DNA.
And did you say the result of what the screening test was?
It was positive.
I assume they're going to follow this up with the DNA expert who confirms
And this is just lab
the DNA.
photograph 53S1. Is this a closer up view of 53S1, the cutting that you took from the towel?
Yes, it is.
And 53S2. Is this the piece of the towel that you cut and designated as 53S2?
Yes.
And 53S3, what was that?
Can you click on it? Sure. Thank you. That was one hair-like fiber and other trace material, including some blackish particles that I saw on the towel.
And was that retained for further analysis?
Yes, it was.
And I'm just going to zoom in here on the photograph. There's the acronym HLF. Does that stand for hair-like fiber?
Yes, it does.
And if we look very carefully where the mouse is now over, is that the hair-like fiber?
Yes, it is.
Publishing paragraph 10 of States 103. State Police 502K, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as 4 pieces of black plastic garbage bag with black duct tape attached to 2 pieces contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to the Division of Scientific Services and designated as Submission 88. Did you do analysis of Submission 88?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, Submission 88 was actually given 3 separate designations, correct? 88.1, 88.2, and 88.3?
That's correct.
And 88.1, as I understand it, was actually 2 bags which were taped together. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I'm displaying a photo entitled Lab 88.1, which is in States 109, the folder indicating State Police Exhibit 502K, Lab Submission 88. Is this item 88-1?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Where would the tape have been in this particular photograph? Or where would it be located on the bags, I guess?
Where the 2 like grayish marker arrows are.
So you're indicating that the photograph displays 2 separate arrows, one pointing to the bottom of the photo and one pointing up, and the tape would have been somewhere in that area?
Yes, there was multiple pieces of tape in that area, whereas the aerial pointing down was 1 piece of tape.
And did you do swabbings of this particular exhibit?
Yes, I did.
Displaying a photograph entitled Lab 88-1S1. Is this the first swabbing that you took?
Yes, I took a swabbing of the exterior of the single piece of tape. I'm sorry, the non-adhesive side.
Would that have been before the prints removed it, obviously?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do any presumptive tests on that, or just for touch DNA?
I just collected it for touch, and I didn't do any screening tests for it.
And then Lab 88-1S2, what are we seeing here?
That was where there was a tangle of black tape, and I swabbed the non-adhesive side of the areas that were exposed in that tape, that tangle of tape.
And again, for touch DNA?
Yes.
And then Lab 88-1S3, what area was swabbed here?
That was a reddish brown stain on the, there was, one of the bags was damaged and the other bag was not damaged. So that's how I designated the 2 bags, the damaged bag and the non-damaged bag. So 88-1S3 was a reddish brown stain on the exterior of the non-damaged bag adjacent to the black tape.
And did you do any screening tests for blood on that particular swabbing?
Yes, I did.
And what were the results?
It was positive for the screening test.
showing you photograph lab 88 period 1S4. What was that a swabbing of?
That was the damaged bag, the interior lower corner, both sides. Now I will back up and tell you that the damaged bag is received inside out. And that's assuming that the manufacturer's printed information is printed on the exterior. And the non-damaged bag was received assuming that the manufacturer's information got printed on the exterior of the bag.
And was 88 1S4 a swabbing of a reddish brown area?
Yes.
And did you do any screening tests for blood?
Yes.
And what were the results?
It was positive for the screening test for blood.
88 1S6, that was a swabbing from the exterior opening of the non-damaged plastic bag, is that correct?
Yes, this was collected post latent print examination.
And on this particular photograph, lab 88 period 1S6, the top photograph, actually the bottom as well, have sort of a grayish circular marker. Is that the area that was swabbed for 88 1S6?
Yes, it was. So the pictures are the two sides of the bag.
And then 88 1S7, that was a swabbing from the exterior opening of the damaged bag. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you also swabbed that for DNA?
Yes, both sides of the bag.
No screening test done on 88 1S6 or 1S7, is that correct?
That's correct.
And is that because there was no reddish blood substance that was being swabbed in that particular area?
No, it was because I was collecting them for touch.
And then, did you locate anything within, or excuse me, Mr. Parisi had located something within 88.1, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so I'm going to pull up a photograph entitled Lab 88.1. 2. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
One folded lengthwise black plastic garbage bag.
And this was designated as having come from inside 88.1, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you take any swabbings of this?
There was a stain, brownish stain, and I tested that with the screening test for blood. It was positive, and then I collected it as 88-1-2S1.
And I'm displaying lab 88.1.2S1. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, I think if you go to the top picture, you can see the circle is around that stain. Yes.
And you also did analysis of designation 88-2, is that correct?
That's correct.
What was 88-2?
It was one black plastic garbage bag.
And were swabbings taken of 88-2?
Yes, there were.
So within that exhibit, Your Honor, I'm calling up folder State Police Exhibit 502K, Lab Submission 88, folder 88-2. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
So both of those pictures are the exterior of the garbage bag, and they're the same side of the garbage bag because there's quite a bit of testing and drawing, so I have two pictures, two photos.
And I want to direct your attention now to the swabbings that you took, specifically 88-2S1, that was a swabbing of a latent print partially outlined exterior. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's because Mr. Parisi had asked.
Whoa, I don't know if Tracy's in the chat, but Tracy K just sent a $50 Venmo. Said happy anniversary to you and Shannon. Tracy, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Actually done some analysis of this for fingerprints, correct? Already?
Yes.
And so you tried to swab the fingerprint to see if you could get some type of DNA or blood?
Yes.
And did you do a screening test for blood on the fingerprint?
Yes, I did.
And it came back negative, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. 88-2S2, which is the second swab that you took, that was of a reddish-brown stain on the exterior of the bag, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm just going to try to zoom in. Did you do a screening test of S2 here?
Yes, I did.
And the results were positive, is that right?
That's correct.
And S3, which is seen in the upper left corner of the lower photograph, you did a swabbing in that area and did a screening test for blood as well, correct?
Yes, I did.
And the results were positive?
Yes.
And then S4 is, I guess, in the top third of the bag in the center where my mouse is. That was of a brownish stain on the exterior, correct?
Yes.
And did you do a screening test of that?
Yes, it was positive.
Incidentally, it's difficult to see in the photographs the reddish brown stains. Were you visually inspecting these for stains?
Yes. And I was aided by what we call crime light. It's basically a flashlight, a laboratory flashlight that has white light.
(88-2S5) was that of a reddish brown stain from the bag's exterior?
Yes.
And did you do a screening test for blood for that?
Yes.
What were the results?
It was positive.
And that particular area is displayed in photograph lab 88-2S5 and 2S6 in the upper right photograph. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now I want to direct your attention to the lower photograph in this particular image, 88-2S6. That was a swabbing from the opening exterior right here for touch DNA. Is that right?
That's correct.
So no screening test done on that.
Correct.
And then 88-2S7 was a swabbing that you took of the reddish brown stain on the interior of the bag. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you do any screening tests on that?
Yes.
And what were the results?
Positive.
And then 88-2S8.
Excuse me, Your Honor, can we at least have clarification? Positive for what?
Positive for the screening test for blood.
Thank you.
88-2S8 was the eighth swab that you took of this particular item, and this was of a reddish brown stain on the interior of the bag. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm just going to zoom in to the top photograph here. There's a gray circular area here. Is this the area that you swabbed?
Yes.
And did you do a screening test for blood on this particular swabbing as well?
Yes.
And what were the results?
It was positive for the screening test of blood.
And you also worked on submission designation 88-3, is that correct? Was that, no, that was Ms. Valonis.
Yes, Anita Valonis examined the knotted plastic bag.
Meow. Meow.
publishing States Exhibit 103, paragraph 11. State Police Exhibit 502S, seized from Hartford by Sergeant Kevin Duggan on May 31st, 2019, and identified as one metal scraper with a broken blade, contained within State Police Exhibit 502, seized from the scene, corner of Albany Avenue and Green Street, Hartford, Connecticut, was subsequently submitted to Division of Scientific Services and designated as Submission 40. And I'm going to open the folder entitled State Police Exhibit 502S, Lab Submission 40.
Council, it's now 3:20. We will take our afternoon recess until, let's call it 3:35.
Yes, Judge.
All right, friends, I am going to go now. This should portal us into the interview tonight at 7 Eastern. I hope you can join us. Sarah Turney, Women Who Rocks, and then that portal is going to take you to Publicly Buzzed at 9 today, which he's covering that wild Kansas City case. So we hope you can join us. And again, off tomorrow for mine and Shannon's anniversary. Thank you all so much for your support, all the super chats and all the Venmos, etc. for our anniversary. We really appreciate it. Thank you, mods, always crushing the game. And I'll see you guys hopefully at 7 Eastern, which if you're not on Eastern Standard Time is in 3.5 hours. Thank you guys. Love you guys. See you guys tonight. And if not, have a great weekend and see you on Monday. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation.